And we are live. Modeling School. Hello and welcome to the Fanboy Modeling School. I am the Fat Mantis, now in HD. I'm here with my man
Steve, real name no gimmicks, also in HD hi-fi fidelity.
And who else we got here on call?
MATTKAT from Geek What?
Yeah, Geek What? An amazing channel, guys. If you haven't seen it, he did a great analysis of Godzilla -1 today. I loved it.
Oh, thank you.
For that. I'm sorry I didn't leave a comment, but I did really enjoy it. I was watching it on my lunch break. But anyway, yeah, he does same thing as us, except a little better. Pop culture reviews, entertainment discussions, and we just talk about what's going on. Probably the culture war, really. But how are you guys doing?
Good.
I'm doing good.
Excellent. This is just a reminder, guys, to like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, tip us. Give us bits, spoons, whatever app you find us on. Do all the nice things, because Fanboy is only able to happen because of viewers like you.
It's true. It's absolutely true. Shout out. Welcome in, Bex. Welcome in, Shallow Nice Boxer.
It says it's going down. It is going down. For those of you who love the Acolyte, we are going live while it's premiering.
Yeah.
So you either think it's a good thing or a bad thing that you're missing the Acolyte.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it right after this.
I'm definitely going to. And I think, like, even if you hate the show, you pretty much have to, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to stay tapped in, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm enjoying it, right? And before we get into our honorable mentions, right? It is amazing to me with everything that's going on in the Middle East, with everything that's going on in America. Hunter Biden getting caught smoking crack and getting convicted on all levels. That what pops up in my algorithm is the Acolyte before anything else.
You mean the Black-a-light?
I didn't know Hunter Biden got convicted, man. I didn't even. Shout out to America's most famous crackhead, right?
So you know he's in the Guinness Book of World Records?
No.
He is in the Guinness Book of World Records because after they found the laptop, he is the person who has been filmed the most smoking crack in front of a camera.
That's good.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. When your child is born and you think, I want this child to live a fruitful and positive life, you never think that you're going to look down and be like, son, one day you are going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records for smoking the most crack on camera since the mayor of DC.
Do you think Joe in his addled brain mind is like, I wish you had died instead of Bo?
Every day.
Every day that he's able to remember his children's names, I think.
Yeah, right.
In those vague, like, twilight hours, maybe for half an hour, he's like, oh, his name's Bo.
Yeah. I bet he would trade the daughter that died as a baby over what like
it's got to sting even more, right? Obviously we're not making light of people losing their children. But but if you did lose a child, and the child you're left with is the guy smoking crack with a Glock in the background,
like, you're the child that survived. What the fuck? God gives you the challenge. He doesn't give you the easy right? So,
that's true.
That's pretty nutty. But I gotta say, going forward, before anyone starts pulling out these pity him. He's lost children. He's had a rough life. Yes, he's had a rough life. Life in general is hard. But just because someone has lost children doesn't mean we can't criticize them. And we need to be able to criticize them and mock his crackhead son.
For sure. Yeah. Definitely the mocking. I just love how, like, it's just like everything. It's just so weird. And they're just like, he's doing this for his son. And I'm all like, yeah, but his son is an adult. Right. And he's made a lot of bad decisions, like a lot of bad decisions.
He's in his 50s. His son is in his 50s. It's not like he's a 16-year-old or even a 20-year-old.
Exactly.
Exactly. And so here's what it is. The fact that this crime, think about it this way. That crime is so minor if you really think about it, lying on a gun form or whatever, but it's still within the statute of limitations, which means it couldn't have been that far away.
Yeah. Plus I love the whole thing of like his dead brother's widow threw the gun away in like a trash. She's just like, I'm gonna get rid of this. Like what? Why do women have to be so stupid sometimes? like Jesus Christ, like, woman, like, what are you doing? Like
the whole imagine this illustration, because this is what's totally nutty. So you find out that your crackhead son is banging your dead son's widow, and she's wrestling a gun from him, and instead of doing away with it in like a responsible way, she throws it in the trash like she's white trash or something.
Yeah.
It's just the trashiest scenario you could think about.
Let me tell you how Hunter is an old school crackhead, right? Because old school crackheads, they really enjoy sharing the space of being a crackhead. Tell me how my man got his ex-wife hooked on this shit, right? Like, he was probably in the bathroom on a Thursday night, like, you know what would really bring this up a bit? What would really bring this up a bit? If I got that bitch downstairs to smoke some of this shit.
Real quick, shout out to my man Izzy in the house. Rogue Radio stopping by. Always a pleasure. She says, hello, fam. We got Bex, of course, watching you guys. Keeps me tapped in. Exactly. We know the skinny. We keep it real. Jaylee, new mom, an amazing human being.
Congratulations.
The wrong kid died. A walk hard reference. So on a political way, I gotta say it like this for Democrats, if you're a Democrat out there, and just Democrats in general, for those who think this is a messed up conviction, you gotta keep it consistent. And so the only thing he was convicted on are gun regulations, and that is what the left is all about. They love regulating guns.
Right.
That very form he filled out, the Democrats created that form.
Yes.
And so you got to keep it consistent. So it's not like injustice that he got convicted lying on the form. You people created the form because you feel uncomfortable with our rights to own guns. And it was to keep the gun out of the hands of a crackhead who was able to skirt the rules anyway.
Right. I mean, but in the sake of the left's argument, right, and you guys chime in on this, just recently AOC, the world's greatest philosopher and political mind to ever exist, right, commented on the Donald Trump conviction.
Oh my gosh, right.
She simply said that justice had been served because this powerful white man was now being held accountable. And here we just see, by that same logic, another powerful white man being held to account. There was no political persuasion here, right?
Yeah.
There was a computer that got abandoned with this motherfucker.
I just love the fact that they're so rich that they can just leave laptops at a store and just be like, wait, there was a laptop? If I lost my laptop, I'd be like, where's my fucking laptop? Like,
right. It's just you couldn't work, right?
I'd be like, I can only afford one of these, and you motherfuckers are passing these out like they're Tic Tacs. It's so crazy. Like,
the craziest thing is,
especially if it was your laptop with you and hookers smoking.
Right. Like, why did he record himself smoking crack with hookers?
Yeah. If you could see my wiener in a video, I'd be freaking out right now. I'd be like, no.
The funniest thing is that he's so well connected that not only can he lose a laptop, but that they didn't have to get talked to. The media as a whole started covering up your laptop mistake.
Right.
Yeah.
So that you could literally be doing some crazy thing, record it on laptop, lose it, and it's like, oh, don't worry, the media's got me.
Yeah.
Police have got me.
Here are some terms that were used: the witch hunt, the persecution of, right? And here's what's really bugged out about this, because we're going to talk about Kevin Spacey, an actual miscarriage of justice in a second here. What really blows my mind about this is it barely broke my algorithm. When Trump got convicted, I'm a man of consistency, right? I want my news. I want everyone to face the cold, hard facts of reality. When he got convicted, I thought we had just won World War III, right?
Right.
This sailors making out in the streets and shit.
Exactly. This motherfucker gets convicted, and I had to go search for it. I had to go type it in and find it.
That's so true. That's so true.
But speaking of justice, Matt, in the green room, we were talking about the tragic state of Kevin Spacey, one of the saddest stories ever told in Hollywood, and I think will be remembered. Matt, you're our inside.
Before we move on to that, we're super quick. It's a comment thing we got to field right now. Right. Rogue Radio says, wasn't there a video from China that was leaked that Hunter Biden was part of not just his drug use and trafficking, but also his involvement in Biden winning the election? I don't know about that one.
Yeah, that one I did not know about.
I don't know about it either. If it's within the last 2 days, the last 48 hours, I have not kept up on it.
Sorry, Rogue Radio. If you could get us back information on that, I would love to hear about it, but I actually don't know about that one.
So Matt is our inside correspondent on this. He's been following very closely, hanging out at the courtroom, making sure that we're all up to date. Matt, give us a brief overview. What happened? What's going on, man?
Okay, so briefly, Kevin Spacey I don't remember. I think it was 2019, give or take. I'm trying to remember here. He was there was a story from BuzzFeed, and they had put out that Anthony Rapp had come out and said that Kevin Spacey had sexually molested him when he was 14. That he went to a party at his apartment after a play, cast party after a play that they were both in, and Kevin Spacey, everybody had left. It was just him and Kevin Spacey. And he had brought him into his bedroom, pulled him on top of the bed. And they didn't have sex or anything, but that's what had happened. Right. So then, of course, the mobs of people online, because you know how they're online, they're fair and just, and they wait until, all the information comes out. Yes. They jumped all over Kevin Spacey, calling him all sorts of names. Well, then he got fired from House of Cards, which at the time was the #1 show on Netflix. And then he basically was just completely exiled from Hollywood and blacklisted from everything. There was a movie coming out. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
Oh, All the Riches in the World.
Yeah, and
he plays the rich dude who's
a dick, but
grandson. I think grandson fakes a kidnapping or something. Yeah,
yeah. So he's replaced in that movie because he's only in 5 minutes, but they replaced him with Christopher Plummer, I believe. And so then he basically just went off into the void. Well, then the trial with Anthony Rapp happened. And during that trial, they had found that Anthony Rapp had lied about the whole story because it took them years to compile all of the evidence that basically it was not possible because Kevin Spacey didn't own the apartment that he was talking about. So all this couldn't have taken place. And there was also another actor that had come with Anthony Rapp. They also asked Anthony Rapp, of why he had come forward because he was this was right in the middle of Me Too, at the height of Me Too. So then Anthony, they asked him why, and Anthony Rapp said basically he just doing it for the money. And so
he admitted that.
Well, yeah, he was on the stand. He had to, or because there was, and then BuzzFeed had written an article. I believe it was BuzzFeed. I can't remember because they changed. BuzzFeed slowly changed their story without telling anybody. You know how they are these days.
Yes.
And but then a story came out about something like Anthony Rapp flips the narrative on the story or some crap like that. It wasn't Anthony Rapp's a big fucking liar. And so Kevin Spacey then he's paid so much money, and then the only thing he could get back from Anthony Rapp was the judge could only get I believe that he said $80,000 out of Anthony Rapp out of all this stuff.
Think about how many millions he lost just from the last season of House of Cards.
Yeah,
on that.
Yeah, he just did an interview with Piers Morgan. I was watching it before I came on here, and he said in there he's still millions in debt because of legal fees, and he's on the verge of bankruptcy. And so
his home in Baltimore had been foreclosed on too.
Yep. He had to sell his house. And then so the one in UK was even, they had less evidence to prove guilt in the one in UK, in the trial in UK, which he just was found innocent for this year. He was found both innocent in the US and the UK, and he's now got to face these. Channel 4 in the UK just came out with a 2-part documentary called Spacey Unmasked, where they have 10 new victims, and the assaults, they range from, he took me out on dates and, and didn't give me a career, to he touched my thigh. And some of them were a little bit more elaborate, but and Kevin Spacey does address this in an interview that he did with Dan Wooten, which was very good. It's like an hour long or whatnot, but it's my whole thing is he didn't do anything illegal, and B, he was found innocent. So at one point in time, do we give people that are found innocent in a court of law a second chance? Because Kevin Spacey is my favorite actor, and when all this went down, I was all like, man, that sucks that Kevin Spacey did this, but at the same time, I'm all like, and when you find out all the information, you're all like, oh, so he didn't do this, and these fuckers are just liars, and now there's no, hey, we're sorry, buddy. And I'm like, this is such a tragedy of justice that it just makes me upset. Like I'm so mad, and I wish he could sue, but he can't.
It's so funny that I am an example of how fucked up the system is, and so I'll give you an example. When I love Kevin Spacey, but I never really follow the story except in the beginning. So I always assumed he was convicted, or there was proof, or it was well known. And it wasn't until we were in the green room hanging out before we started this episode that you brought it up. And I was like, wasn't he convicted? And you were like, no. And I was like, well, because I didn't do my research, and I'm like 99% of people, because we can't keep up with every story. Right. You just assume the person's guilty, because once accused, it's so hard to clear your name. Mm-hmm. It's so hard to clear your name.
What's that saying? It takes what is it? A lie will get 10 times around the world before the truth does, or something like that. I can't remember and it's just sad. I'm really sad because on the Piers Morgan interview, he starts crying when he starts talking about how he's bankrupt and shit. And I'm all like, see, this dude's life is ruined, like forever. I'm all like, it sucks. And he just got a couple of jobs, and now any money he gets from that, he's gotta fucking pay for more legal fees, because he's got to deal with more shit, and it just sucks.
You know what the crazy part about this, in the history of all of this, in all of histordom, right? In the Western world, the only person who's been wrongly convicted to even get a bit of public acknowledgement falsely accused, was Johnny Depp, and it was for a fucking cologne commercial where he's standing out in the desert. And it was the only bit of vindication other than whatever he got paid from the WB. And I think Kevin Spacey, even though, so here's how they're attacking this publicly, right? And how they attacked it. He was found not liable, right? Is what they're saying. So there's still the opportunity within that framework of believe all victims that this was just a miscarriage of justice. The victim was not served. But it's like, no, man, you did not prove that a crime happened here. But what I can prove without a shadow of a doubt is that a man has been ruined by this. Mm-hmm. And someone should be held to account for this. Recently, Matt, Roy, I was having a bit of a debate with my employer in regards to keeping wins and losses, right? I'm like, in this system that we have, we keep a record of any time someone's reprimanded. Anytime someone's done something stupid, they've shown up to work, and they got to talk to like 18 different bosses about coming into work 15 minutes late or whatever it is. But when they succeed, it's like, all right, good job on that, and we move on. And there's barely any record of wins. And in this instance, the reason why I'm so happy we're talking about this and we got to be loud and proud about it is so many people jumped on this dude and turned on him before he even had his day in court. And now he's left in shambles financially because you needed someone to die on the hill of believe all victims.
Yeah.
You needed a sacrifice, man.
The thing is that the reason why you're never going to get apologies. I mean, here's what it was with Johnny Depp. It seemed, in my opinion, overwhelmingly that society wanted to give him an apology. People like Johnny Depp, and they didn't like that he was railroaded, right? But in most cases, the cancel mob, they don't apologize because that would mean there's a credibility for the things they do. And they want to not be credible. They want to skirt it. They want to destroy people's lives, and it's all willy-nilly. It's all a game to them.
Right.
And so And that's the thing. It's like all the time. I don't mind people getting their comeuppance, but like, should people literally like lose their livelihood, never be able to work again in their career because of something that happened? You know what I mean? Like, it's totally insane. And like he's not even being accused of actual grape.
Right.
He's being accused of being a handsy dick.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and that destroyed a man's career. I mean, this is a dude from LA Confidential, Usual Suspects. He's a legend.
Amazing movies.
That's my favorite movie.
But here's the word that is glossed over: accused. He was accused of these things, and before he had his day in court, they all made up their minds, man. While we're talking about this, I got something that's going to put a smile on you guys' face, man. It has nothing to do with Kevin Spacey, but it does have something to do with vindication, and I wanted to save it for an honorable mention. The world's coolest dictator, his words, not mine, the president of El Salvador, sat down with Tucker Carlson.
Wait, does he actually call himself that?
Yes.
The world's coolest dictator. Okay.
What can only be described as one of the most amazing interviews and so matter of fact, just answers to every question. He sat down with Tucker Carlson, and El Salvador is now the safest place in the Western Hemisphere. And that's not just a traveling thing, guys. That's not just something you can put on a brochure. It actually is. And then I'm watching a clip preparing to talk about this for you guys, right? Where he invites one of the chairmen or a committee member to investigate him, and everyone sitting in the room, he's like, open an investigation on all of us for any wrongdoing, any malfeasance, any of that stuff. And he's sitting with Tucker Carlson, and he's talking about what it was like preparing to take his country back from the hands of gangs. Now, this has a little something to do with the Tucker Carlson, with the Kevin Spacey thing. It has to do with the public view of things, right? Namely, the public view of motherfuckers who don't live there. So the social justice warriors will say, not the people who live in El Salvador, but people who live in America, that this was complete dictatorship. He had no right to do this. He shouldn't do this, right? But he described to Tucker Carlson a brief interview he allowed to happen with one of the prisoners, a former gangbanger who had left the gangs, right? And he says why this guy left the gang. Basically, this hitman who has 40 or so bodies, right, had no problem killing for territory, killing for money or any of these things, was brought into a room one day by some of the higher-ups and tells the interviewer that they had a baby there. Not an army, right? A baby. And they wanted him to kill the baby. Now, I don't know where everyone's religious view stands on it, but if you're not familiar with a lot of gang culture, a lot of it is satanic, right? It's just, there's no other way to put it. And when he asked, well, why are we going to kill this baby? The response of his leaders were, well, the beast demanded a baby. This is not some conspiratorial shit. I haven't been hanging out on Reddit. This happened. This is like a point of fact. And he turned his back on the gang. He's still in prison, and I love that the president said that. He's like, yeah, he's still in prison. He's a murderer, all these things, right? But he has managed to clean up his country and sat down with Tucker Carlson, who has now positioned himself as the guy that speaks to dictators.
Yes, I love that. I absolutely love that. That rebranding. He's sticking it to Fox, right?
Right.
But the question is, were you talking about a South American gang, or were you talking about Hollywood?
Both.
I don't see a difference,
bro. So it's funny because we're going to talk about Candace Owens at a certain point, man. And I know you both know the Big C is back. That's one of our main topics. But she is also very much speaking up about the satanic behaviors and rituals of Hollywood. And I can't wait to get into it. But I just want to give a shout out to the world's greatest dictator.
Yeah, no, that is awesome. I think that's so funny that he just owns that title.
Yeah,
he's like pretty great. People hate.
Yeah. Reese says, I once saw a video of Biden whispering to kids and touching them weirdly. It made me feel sick. No one ever talks about things. It's true. I've seen them too, and I don't understand why that's not bigger news, right?
Yeah, the one where he's like, you have really cool ears. And I'm like, what? Don't be weird, dude. Like,
so bizarre.
Stop it. Like,
but every time there's a young girl on stage, he loves to get behind her.
Yeah.
Start doing the back rub.
And you know what gets me
the hair.
How can a parent let somebody touch their kid like that? I don't care who you are. Do not. I'd be like, yo, Biden, don't touch my child. You're being fucking weird, dude. Like, stop it now. Like,
he's like, you're what did he call that one ironworker? You're a horse show dog pony boy.
Yeah. And it's like, what?
Pony soldier or something.
Yeah, yeah. It's so weird. That's weird.
Are you guys ready to break into the most divisive topic on the internet today? Are you ready are you ready to talk about the Acolyte? All right,
Acolyte.
Matt, you couldn't have joined us on a better time. But before we get to that, I gotta ask you, Matt. Name 2 shows that you actually like. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. 2 shows
that are on right now. Well, X-Men 97 just ended, and I did like that one, so I'm gonna count that one because it's recent.
Okay.
And then the House of the Dragon is coming. Does that count?
That counts.
And the boys is coming this week. So does that count? The boys. I like the boys.
That counts.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
So we can dispel the myth that Matt doesn't like anything. So now let's talk about the Acolyte, man. I'm enjoying it. I had a great time with the first 2 episodes. I haven't read any of the High Republic books, and I don't need to.
Yeah, you don't need to.
They look like a stupid gimmick. I certainly, they're like, hey, we're Jedi's in a different era. I'm like,
I think I read 8 of them. They're in this closet over here. I should just burn them. That's how much they're worth. They're so bad.
I mean, it looks stupid. It looks like a really far-fetched attempt to make money. As they call it, IP mining, where they're like, let's do every spin-off. Let's give every character a spin-off. Agatha's going to be like, why are they giving Agatha a show? It's
the best thing to come out of the High Republic was in Jedi Survivor. That whoever that team is, that writing team for Jedi Survivor, they just must not work in the same building as the rest of Lucasfilm.
Yeah,
because they're like, we're not touching any of that shit, and if we do touch it, we're gonna make it make sense. Because literally, that was great.
This is one of the problems when franchises get too big. The teams don't work with each other and they don't communicate. And we see it in everything. And we see it in Doctor Who. We see it in now Marvel. Marvel's gotten so big. I don't even think these writers even know each other.
No, they go on
which I think it should be like mandatory that if you have like 4 different writing rooms, there has to be at least one person that works in another writing room. So that way you have at least one person to be like, oh, you guys, no, we're doing this on She-Hulk. You can't do that. It doesn't make any sense.
I absolutely agree. And like, if you even look at it, Secret Invasion, which takes place before the Marvels, the disconnect between those 2 properties, even though they have the same characters, is insane.
Yeah, and such a missed opportunity.
Like Nick Fury, I mean the comic book Secret Invasion is amazing,
so good.
Yes,
and the fact that like Nick Fury is a totally different character between the 2 of them. His wife disappears between Secret Invasion and the thing. They are literally not checking in with each other.
Yeah, and let's not forget that they killed the Illuminati twice by making that show. Do you guys remember in the comics how Secret Invasion actually kicked off? It was because Charles Xavier, Reed Richards, Iron Man, and I believe Doctor Strange all got captured and possibly molested by the Skrulls.
Right. The Skrulls are beating off to these guys.
And they didn't bring that up in this show at all. So episode 1 of the Acolyte.
Yeah.
Let's get right to it, right?
Let's do it.
The first episode, to me, one of the things that's being levied against it is CW Star Wars. I did not get that vibe, man.
I don't get that at all.
I don't get that either. I didn't get that.
I thought the cinematography was decent. I won't say great. I thought it was decent. It felt like they'd scaled. It was nice to see some new aliens. I thought the opening scene of her walking up and asking, "Where's your Jedi?" It reminds me of the stuff that we used to see in the novels about like the Sentinel Jedis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that kind of kung fu vibe they had going. Not even just the fight scenes where she walks up to Trinity. That's what we're going to call her, Jedi Trinity.
Master Trinity.
And she walks up to her and challenges her. And I love that her response was, I appreciate your bravery, young warrior, but I have no quarrel with you. And then the other guys start laughing.
Right.
So it was an amazing opening scene. I think it was an amazing opening scene.
Yeah.
I agree with you. You know what I love? I love that little guy who took the coin from the Dark Jedi. Because he's got the red breather and some sort of liquid in there. He reminded me of like original Star Wars, where like that is a weird freaking alien.
Right.
Like what is that dude's thing? And I gotta say this, I'm gonna put them on blast, even though I like the series. It's basically a Star Wars version of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, if anyone has noticed this.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's the the young apprentice who's learning the wrong way, and then she's still beating everyone's ass.
Right.
But I did really enjoy that opening scene, and now I'm interested, MATTKAT, what did you think of that opening scene?
I mean, I did like that opening scene. I like the fighting. It didn't feel like Star Wars to me, but I did like it. Like, you can't, when you've got Kung Fu and you're all like moving your hands around and stuff, that's super cool. And like you said, Crouching Tiger and Dragon, when she like climbs and parkours, but uses the air up to the second level. That was good. And I did like it when she finally got the upper hand on Trinity and she's just like, "Bye-ow, bitch," and like blasted back and everything. I was like, no, this is fine. This part didn't bother me.
Right.
Just everything after that.
And so it's funny that are you about to go to the next scene, or because I was
no, go.
So I noticed that some of the reviewers, and we're not even talking about nitpicky reviewers, just reviewers are like, why is it that in other Star Wars series you can impale women, particularly women have this power, to be impaled by a lightsaber and survive, but this woman threw a dart and killed her.
Right.
And I have to say, you cannot reference a bad thing like people getting stabbed with a lightsaber and living,
right,
and be like, that's your basis as to why this is bad.
Okay.
Normal people die from a dagger to the heart. People should not live from a lightsaber to the heart or the chest.
Most certainly.
And therefore, those things suck.
Yeah.
And this thing is still normal.
Yeah. I didn't even mind her. I didn't even mind that Trinity died. I was like, well, it was a waste of Trinity, but at the same time, I go, no, that's fine. This is a murder mystery. It's fine.
Yeah.
I was fine with that. I mean, a lot of people guessed that was what was going to happen. Like, that's what I thought was going to happen in the trailer. I was like, oh, they're probably going to kill Trinity off like right away. Because
I'm the fool because when she died, I said, what? They killed Trinity?
I think one of the things that about this show, and especially that opening scene, we had talked about this on Fanboy, and it kind of plays into classic Star Wars, right? You're speaking about the alien with the goo inside its mask and everything, right? And we're seeing other aliens, man. I'm going to say something, and I'm going to side with the Empire. No wonder the Empire didn't want these motherfuckers to have rights. Some of these aliens, like if I ran a galactic empire, I'd be hard pressed. I'm like, we're giving rights to the goo people?
Right.
Oh,
you see like running through and you're like, ew, you're not allowed in.
No. It's bad enough they're Wookiees. I'm not giving
goo people, freaking light beings, all sorts of weird aliens out there. Shaolin's like, those fight scenes were straight up wuxia. But it was good to see them get their hands on like that. I think it's cool.
I agree.
I think I'm just going to say in general, it has to do with the fact that they're doing Kung Fu back then, and the way there's Jedi separated around, and they're wearing gold and white cloaks. And if you actually look at the temple is like slightly different. It apparently, I saw New Rock Stores go over this, that the bottom part of Coruscant is less developed, so there's still some trees left.
I didn't notice that.
And so there's a gold trim to the temple, but also down there's less development. There's some trees. And I was like, they really put a lot of thought into making it feel like it is Star Wars, but it's like a different era of Star Wars.
Right.
It's 100 years in the past. I dig it.
Matt said something that was really interesting in regards to the Trinity thing, this being a murder mystery. So when I saw the trailer initially, I was like, she's definitely going to die. But retroactively, we're probably going to see a lot of her character and whatever she has to do with it. And now it kind of seems like we know that the Jedi are being framed as, and I don't mean literally being framed, I mean in like the conceptual sense, being framed as they did something fucked up. And I think that's what's really pulling on me what this show is. I want to know whether, hopefully they can land it, what they did. Now, remember, my prediction initially from this show is that it should be everyone get dead. Anyone that's seen the Sith, anyone that came in contact with them, they all have to be wiped out. But what do you guys, so like moving on into the later parts of the episode, we find out it's her twin. I thought they were kind of like, that was too quick for me. You know, I wish we could have dragged that out a little bit. For some reason, they send a Killmonger Jedi to bring her back, and he says, let's send her back on an unmanned ship with a bunch of droids. And like,
because he has the Killmonger hair. That's what you said.
He does have
right?
the Killmonger hair, yeah.
like what did you guys think about the reveal about them being twins happening so early in the show?
Well, I don't know what other episodes. Hopefully, they'll have even more twists coming. I don't know if it's too early. I'd have to see the whole season to know if that's too early. Because for all I know, there's a twist every episode, which I would love.
Okay.
I agree with you that it was too early because it was just like it was just like this happened and then it's like, oh, she has a twin, like almost right away. And I'm just like, oh, well, you guys could have saved that a little bit. You know, I mean, like you could have made us think this entire episode that it was her and that she was like having a memory blast or whatnot. But you didn't even do that. You're just like first scene, she kills somebody. Second scene, she's on a ship, and then the third getting arrested. And the third scene, you're like, oh, she had a twin that died, and you're like, well, obviously not. I just saw her.
No, I do agree that was weird. He mentions that, and they're like, you didn't mention that before, and you're right. Why didn't that come up at all in their investigation? That is well done. That's true. It might have been cool if an entire episode went by where we thought she was guilty.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if we got the first two episodes where we didn't find out it was a twin, because and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but when she sees the vision of her twin sister but as a little girl, I was like, you could have played that off as like something's going on, like she's still up in her head and it's like she just switches back and forth. But then the third episode revealed that she had a twin, and you've been like, oh, interesting. But I think also they did reveal that she was playing twins in an interview or whatnot before the show came out. So
I did know that she was going to play twins.
You're totally right. They revealed it too early because and I'll have to be honest with you. You're right. The Jedi did something bad, but I'll be honest with you. They haven't made me care about what the Jedi did. I don't really. I don't care if they killed a whole school full of younglings. I'm just like, I do not care.
I have a theory.
Oh, good. I want to hear it.
So I have a theory that I think the four sinner Jedis that need to be killed, I think they were part of a hit squad that I think they use future seeing to see who could become a potential Sith, and they go and try to kill the person before. Oh,
like kind of like Luke Skywalker with Ben Kenobi.
Right, and they're actively did that.
Ben, what's his face?
Right, because like it's so shady that they're like that one girl who went dark side. They're like, oh, she died in a fire. Everything's fine, and then she really didn't, and they seem worried that she didn't die in a fire. I'm like,
actually, I have a counter theory to that, and you're not going to like what I say. I actually think this is going to play into the culture war part, which I know we're going to get into, which is why I'm kind of speeding us along of our critique of the show. I think this has to do with a quote we heard in one of the trailers from who's probably the high priestess. Do you remember when the trailer first dropped and you hear a voice saying, this is about power and who's allowed to use it? And I think this turns out to be the fact that these witches, these fake Dathomir bitches, were out there using the Force in a way that did not line up with the Jedi. And you two are going to cringe right when it happens. I think the big reveal is going to be that the Jedi are made out to be the ultimate persecutors. And that
women?
Like they wiped out this coven of witches because they were dark siders, but in actuality, they had to do it to preserve the balance.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. I'd be like, of course they did. The Jedi.
So here's the thing.
There's no good and evil in Star Wars, you guys.
Well, that's what they're saying. Leslie, I cannot believe this thing. The fact that like Filoni and Leslie Headland, the head of this show, and the actors, they're all recently being interviewed about how evil is suggestive. Maybe Anakin wasn't evil, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right.
This is clear. The story of Star Wars is clearly about there's a good side and an evil side.
Right.
And so it's depressing that they have this weird view.
Yeah.
Of things.
So I want to say this, but I'm not gonna say everything. So there was a leak of who the Sith Lord Master is. There's like a video online. And I think I know who it is, because like
I think they made it already obvious.
Well, I don't want to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. I don't want to tell you.
So I think it's obvious.
Yeah.
I think we have seen this person, and this person is clearly shady and knows more and is more than they actually are.
And my theory is, because this has nothing to do with that, but my theory is that, okay, I'm agreeing with both of you that the hit squad Jedi, they did, but I think that they were supposed to kill May, and that Asian guy, he's all like, I can't do it. I can't kill this little girl. And he didn't kill her. And she's all like, I'm still going to kill you because you kill all my witch mothers or whatever they're called. And she's all like, and everything. Yeah, I think that's
I think you're on to something there, bro, because there's a scene in episode 2, right, where when she engages Trinity and when she engages the floating pedophile monk Jedi
with the big ass forehead. His forehead is so high. Is that what you do to make people look old? You just give him a big ass forehead and a scar?
He's the most guilty of them all because he killed himself, right? So what did he do to these little girls? To deserve?
Yeah, like as soon as they showed him, I was like, oh, time was not kind to you, sir. Or the makeup artist.
He is the Hunter Biden of Star Wars.
He is the Hunter Biden. That's well done.
But there's a scene in episode 2, which, by the way, episode 2 I didn't enjoy as much as episode 1, because it just kind of started slipping into the poor formula writing that they have over at Disney for their shows, where it was a bad blend of filler and giving us a background on what happened. But May is fighting against one of my new favorite Jedis, the son or whatever his name is, and she doesn't pull her weapons right away. Like, she's almost actually pulling her punches, and then she starts to get serious during the fight. I agree that he probably was supposed to do something to her and didn't do it, or he's the guy that tried to reason with the Jedi before they went Anakin Skywalker on a bunch of lesbians out in the galaxy far, far away, because that's what this shit's going to boil down to. This is going to be a coven of lesbians.
This episode, I already know, is going to be mega lesboed out. No offense to our LGBT listeners.
Right.
That's a term of endearment.
Right. But also, I was debating with in our private chat, Shaolin and Mantis. I think we already know what's going on with the show, and I'm going to die on this hill. The name of the show is The Acolyte, right? And if we look at Filoni's workings in Star Wars, there's a Sith Lord, there's a Sith apprentice, and then there are copious amounts of assassins that they can just write out as not being Sith,
right?
And they are acolytes, right? I believe that the Sith Lord that we all think is the big bad is actually the apprentice, and he's got May doing the missions that he's supposed to be
doing. Yeah,
he should be doing, and it's like, I've killed 4 Jedis without using one weapon.
Yeah, because I even though I just found out today well, at least I don't know, I saw a video of when they said it's the Sith Master or whatever, but I always thought there was a different character. I don't want to say who either, because I don't know what happens to this character. I need to find out, but it'll be that would make it way interesting. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent.
No, tangents are
I want to say one more thing real quick, because you had his Racy M, is that how you say your name? Contact is an awesome movie. I love that movie.
Oh, Reese M, Reese.
Reese, sorry, Reese. You're Reese. I like it. Yeah, I should learn to read. But I think that
Contact is a great movie. I will confirm that.
It is it's a great movie. But I think that you're right. Like, this whole this there's a Sith Lord now, and then that's the apprentice with the weird smile thing, which refers to what is that name of that woman? She's like the god.
Right. The mother. The mother.
Yeah.
The demon thing.
Abeloth. Thank you.
Abeloth. There we go.
Yeah.
Abeloth. I agree with you. It does reference that.
Which is Filoni. Abeloth is Filoni loves that bullshit. I don't like any of that stuff.
Don't get me started on this dude. Yeah, here's what it is. He doesn't just pick EU stuff. He picks the most obscure EU references. And he's like, if you're not a super, super hardcore nerd who's read every novel and memorized them, then fuck you.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But I gotta say this. What do you guys think of this? Because I have a theory about it. But like, I noticed that no YouTuber or anyone, and I tried to make a video, I had no time this week to do it, talked about this, but like, why does his general silhouette and the helmet shape look like Kylo Ren?
That's a good question. And here's something that's going to upset me, and I'm just going to say it out loud, man. You remember the first trailer for The Force Awakens when we were trying to figure out who this new Sith is, and he's walking into a forest? Follow me on this because I'm about to go on a rant, man.
I'm excited.
That should have been the Acolyte story. I know now that story should have been about us finding out how this person came into knowledge of the dark side in a galaxy where it had been completely obliterated, or so we thought. That's what it should have been. People were calling this new Sith Lord Zipperface, by the way. That's his name. If you go look at
Zipperface. I don't hate it.
I don't know why it looks like Kylo Ren, man, but here's one thing I can tell you honestly. I do believe that drunk bastard in the bar is underneath that mask, right? I'm almost positive of it. And
the Asian guy.
Yeah. The guy who was on The Good Place.
Yeah, the guy that looks like Ezra Miller. Am I the only one that knows?
No, I said that in my review. He looks like an Asian Ezra Miller. He looks
Asian Ezra Miller. So his name is like Manny DeSantis or whatever. But like, he is. I think he's clearly the master, or not the master, her master. But I agree with you. I think he's probably the apprentice, and he's just getting some sucker Darksider who will never become a Sith to do his dirty work.
You know what go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that when it comes to why he looks like Kylo Ren, I think they're just trying to capitalize on how cool Darth Vader always looked. And they've always got to have this drenched in black with a helmet. And I'm all like, listen, don't get me wrong. The helmet and the black look is very cool. Like, you got the, but I think that, this one doesn't look that great. They're calling him Zipperface, so I'm like, it can't be that great.
So my original theory was that is a young Palpatine, and because remember, Palpatine was possessing Kylo Ren when he made his Sith outfit, and maybe he was like, "You're gonna remake my costume, bitch." Right? That's one way. Right. However, I think signs are pointing that it's probably Plagueis.
Right.
If they're gonna go there, and I actually hope they go there. In which case it doesn't fully make sense why Palpatine would influence him to remake Plagueis's look. Or they just were unoriginal in the costume department, right? And they're like, all Siths are the same.
You know what? You may have just stumbled on to the thing that I'm just terrified about, man. So we're talking about this episode tonight, which is supposed to break Star Wars. You know what would really fuck this shit up? Like, I mean, really fuck this shit up. I mean, like, have motherfuckers hunting down Dave Filoni. If that Asian Ezra Miller looking motherfucker in any way, shape, or form, whether it's a hint or anything, is alluded to be a young Palpatine, I guarantee Disney's dumb enough to do something like that, and they think that they could explain it away, bro.
Oh,
I would love it if they did that.
That'd be amazing.
Hello, Padme. I've changed.
So, MATTKAT, I assume since you're like me, you're addicted to Twitter. So you probably have seen people leak, like Star Wars Girl herself on Twitter was like, "I've seen the episode. This is what happens."
I mean,
she said this.
Yeah, I see. I mean, I like spoilers. I love spoilers. Like I could read spoilers all day. So, I read a lot of Reddit and 4chan and then Twitter and everything. So, I do know what happens in the next 2 episodes because a lot of influencers get those episodes beforehand. So the ones that are like not Disney shills and like, I love this show, even though whatever, but they do not speak well of these episodes, especially episode 3.
So I've heard some really crazy things about this episode, and I'm either ready to defend it or hate it. I need to see it for myself before.
I agree. Yeah. I have a feeling I'm gonna dislike it, but I'm just like, because
it sounds crazy. It sounds
yeah. The witches are the craziest part to me. That whole thing, and then we see Jodie Turner-Smith's character, and remember, she's a powerful woman. Crickets. She's a powerful woman. Right. Clap for me now.
Right.
So, it's funny. Shaolin says, if it's Darth Plagueis, I would be shocked. And so here's why I think there's many things to point to Darth Plagueis, and I think tonight's episode also does. The manipulation of life is a constant theme in this one. Right. And so, I mean, I shouldn't tell... I don't know if it's spoilers because I heard on Twitter, and who knows if that's an accurate thing, but like, you know, if beings are being created from the use of the Force, that all leads to Plagueis, right?
Right.
And so there's a certain character in the story so far who is a what is it? What do they call them? Apothecary. And so they do tinctures and things that heal you and stuff. So it's more life stuff. And so I think the more I learn about this series, the more I'm convinced it's Plagueis. And it's not anyone else. Because he was the one who could manipulate the MATTKAT to manipulate life.
But go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, whatever it is, I think it's going to be a woman. That whatever it does, it's going to be a woman. Because and Leslie Headland, I mean, I get where she added this stuff in, where she said it was Kill Bill meets Frozen.
Right.
I just think that I don't know, it's going to be weird, and I'm probably not going to like it. But whatever it is, I think it's going to be a woman. A woman's going to do everything.
Wait a minute. Do you think Zipperface is a woman?
I do think Zipperface is a woman.
Oh, I'm going to lose it if that happens. I am going to officially lose it.
And I'm not saying this because I saw like anything. I have a theory of who it is and what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. Your theory is that it's not just going to be any woman. It's got to be the standard of woman that Hollywood demands now.
It's the blackest chick ever known to man.
I think it's Jodie Turner-Smith who is the bad guy. Like I think that, and I think that I think they're going to try to do a Darth Vader moment where he's like, "No, Luke, I am your father," but instead she's gonna be like, "I am your mother. I am your mother," and you're gonna be like, "Okay, I think I just want to die now. This is so stupid."
Bro.
Funky Lava 1369 says, "Damn it, I'm late. I guess I got to start from the beginning."
No, stay right here.
Stay, chill with us. We've got more revelations coming right up. Izzy says, "Comes out in all white like a stormtrooper."
Exactly.
Shaolin says, "All right, if it starts Plagueis, I'd be shocked." I feel like are they gonna make Darth Plagueis a woman?
That, I mean, listen, at this point in time, I wouldn't put it past him. Like, it's just like...
Yeah, I gotta rewatch that scene. I'm pretty sure Palpatine refers to him as him. Plagueis is him.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, listen, they'll just be like, history books can be wrong sometimes, you know?
So are you guys ready to get into the culture war?
Yes.
Yeah, we got to talk about the culture war aspect because we're talking about the
part that's like, this is my favorite part about any new Disney drop. I'll admit it. I'm out there hate watching shit and getting into the fray. I go over to other chats, other podcasts that are doing way better than us, so I'm not going to name them. But so there are two themes going on here, right? This is the worst premiere for Disney Star Wars ever. And then
it's the best.
Or it's the best. So Vanity Fair says that it premiered to something like 1.2 million or something like that, and it beat out Ahsoka, which in retrospect isn't that hard to do. I think Ahsoka, after watching again, the best scene in Ahsoka for me was when Thrawn walked out. That is like the be-all, end-all scene, and then after that, everything else is kind of pale. But what do you guys think about this duality that's going on here?
The
worst thing or the best?
First, real quick, best Ahsoka scene, in my opinion, is clearly her fight with that old white dude. That was great.
No,
the first one, not the second one.
That's a great scene, man. But I don't know. Maybe it's because I was blazed, right? So that scene where Thrawn walks out and they're all saying his name, and it's like that Clockwork Orange music is playing in the background, and I was kind of terrified. Kevin Spacey should have played Thrawn. Now that I think about it,
that'd have been good.
That would have been amazing.
No, he would be a great Sith Lord. He would be an amazing.
Yeah, he'd been good. Yeah. Well, I can't speak to my favorite scene in Ahsoka because I did not like that show. But as far as this premiere of the Acolyte goes, I think they said I just think it's not that great. Like, it's not that big of news to me. I think that Star Wars is just not as big as it used to be, and
right.
And I think that they split because it was 2 episodes. Was Ahsoka 2 episodes that its premiere? I can't remember.
Oh yeah, it was.
So. I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm just I mean, good for this show, but I mean, like, I when I hear stuff like that, I just go, I don't care. I don't care if it's the biggest premiere.
I gotta point out that I didn't like Ahsoka either. I didn't. I watched it and I reviewed it, and I didn't review it officially, but I was like into the talk of it, waiting for it to get good. It never got good. There's only like scenes that are good and not actual full episodes that are good. And which is indicative of why Disney, or how Disney is running the franchise into the damn ground. And so, although I am a hater of people who accuse it of being ultra woke, this particular series, I will say this: it is the House of Mouse's job to make something that the majority of people like.
Yeah.
And if you're turning fans against each other, you're not doing right.
Right.
And if you have and this is what the thing that drives me totally crazy. Directors and actors should be taught how to speak to the public. And so Leslie Headland should not be saying, if you don't like my super queer Star Wars, go fuck yourself. That is not the way a director or a creator talks.
Right. And I mean,
it's totally inappropriate that they created this diverse division of fandom.
Right. I agree.
And it's the way that they market this. So apparently the entire marketing team, allegedly, there's a guy on YouTube who has too many subscribers for the type of lies he peddles, but every once in a while he says something true, and I'm not going to shit on his channel right now, but apparently,
I know who you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. this dude fucking lies every chance he gets, bro.
Should I say his name or no?
He'll come on and be like, you guys, Kathleen Kennedy is fired right now. She got fired at this exact moment. I know the dude. Heard, and then you're like 2 seconds later, you're like, you're on Twitter, you're like, no, she didn't.
This man has just lied to me more than my dad has. Disney has done this to themselves because they sat down, the showrunner and the young lady playing the twins, and the guy sets them up perfectly. And you're right, they need handlers. He's like, is this the gayest Star Wars to ever been made? I would have instantly, had I been their handler, like, interview's over. No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're not bringing this into the conversation, because if that moment doesn't happen, then Disney, I guarantee the narrative could have been a little bit different. You know, people would have still called it woke, but to even entertain that, and then to entertain his question of, or his statement that, yeah, it seems like a lot of Star Wars fans do have problems with gay people. I'm like, who are you talking about exactly? Who are these fans other than like the minority voice of idiots on Reddit that actually say quote unquote homophobic things? All I ever hear people say is, man, I'm trying to take my kid to see this. This is the one place I know that movie where there's not going to be some, sex scene between Jedis. I don't care if it's heterosexual sex or whatever you refer to the other stuff. Like, I'm trying not to expose my kid to that.
Exactly.
Right?
And now Star Wars is going to be responsible for a storyline where 2 women have a child together.
Yeah.
Explain that to your kid. Explain that to you.
Yeah. Which I mean,
so I understand why that enrages people.
It's I just have to say, like, for me personally, when it comes to my kids, they do not care about Star Wars like at all. Like, I've tried a million times to get them watch movies, and they're just like Baby Yoda's cute, and that's it. They're just like, I want a plushie, and I give them a plushie, but they do not want to watch anything. But you're totally right about you just want to take your kids to a thing, and I don't want them to see any sexual thing, including among heterosexual people. Right. I just want to take them to a movie where you got characters and they're just hanging out or whatever, and I don't have to answer questions because my kids are too young for that shit right now. I want them to stay as innocent as possible, as long as possible. And if they just see some dude eating a dude's booty hole, then I can't. What am I going to do with that? What am I going to do with that? Like, I can't. Just like
Izzy says it's going to turn out to be. Izzy says it's going to turn out to be Little Nas X behind the mask.
I mean, that would be funny. I mean, he's just like, hey.
Oh, they should hire him as a cameo at the end. He pulls off the helmet.
That'd be good. That would be
Bro,
good.
But this is the thing that they fail at constantly over at Disney, man. And like, I know that technically this property was finished conceptually and then filmed probably before Bob Iger even made a statement of like, we're drifting away from that. But someone's got to put their foot down and just say, hey, man, this is not it, right? This is not it. And we don't want to keep enraging our base. Disney's the only company. Imagine if you went to McDonald's, right? And the kid behind the counter, this probably won't be a stretch of the imagination, is like, fuck you. When you walk up for your Big Mac, just straight up before you say anything, he's like, fuck you. You're in my house, man. You're going to eat this burger with my dick in it. And that's where
that is a good imitation of Disney, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
They're like, and that's how it is, man. But again, people eat off of this. Are we guilty of it, guys? Like, content creators are making big bucks off the culture war and Star Wars.
Whoa. Hold on. In my understanding, Disney has lost a ton of money both in the box office and in streaming, and it's because of the culture war. Right. Because they're turning their fans away.
Right.
Yeah. I think that if they don't, I think that, first off, I think that they're just, I don't know why you would want to, as soon as I realized that I was losing money on anything, I'd be like, yo, course correct now. I'm like, we cannot lose money here. Second thing, whenever I walk into a McDonald's, I ask the first thing, is your ice cream machine working? And if they say no, I walk out. And third, when it comes to Disney now, I don't even go to the movie theater anymore when it comes to anything that they put out. I'm just like, you know what? I can wait for streaming, or I can, I love to go to India every now and then. So exactly. I think that, when it comes to this stuff, it's like, you guys need to figure this shit out and you need to fix it. And like you said, the Acolyte pretty much had no choice because it was already, on its path or whatnot. But I think if Bob Iger really does put some feet to the fire, that'll, for me personally, that'll be like, all right, Bob, I'm with you and everything. Like, if he fires somebody like Kathleen Kennedy, then I'll be like, okay, you know what, I'm with this guy. I'm starting to think maybe they're starting to turn a new leaf, but it's gonna take something big for me to
I have a theory that Kathleen Kennedy has some blackmail material on a bunch of Disney execs, and Bob Iger being one of them. Because she has been constantly costing them money and viewers and subscribers, and they still greenlit the Rey movie,
right?
Which is totally insane. That here's what I'm saying: they literally have a theme. They have a theme park that has lost $250 million just on Star Wars alone because they focused on the sequel trilogy rather than the original trilogy, which was so stupid, right? And yet they still allow her to greenlight a Rey movie that no one wants to see.
That no one wants to see, and that's that. If the movie gets made, at this point in time, I'd be surprised if anything gets made, any movie. And that includes that Mandalorian movie. I don't even know if that's going to get made because didn't that get pushed back?
But my question is, why announce them if they don't intend to make them? What do they get?
I think that Kathleen Kennedy is trying to be all like, when Bob pulls her into the office to be like, Kathleen, we need to have a meeting. She's like, listen, Bob, look at all these projects I have for you. Right. These are going to be great. Everybody loves Rey. So we've got a Rey movie and we've got a Grogu movie. It's going to be great, buddy. Just give me another chance.
They have canceled so many projects and fired so many directors.
So many.
Because of creative differences. It's totally out of hand at this point.
I still want to see the Lord and Miller Han Solo movie.
I would totally love to see that. I wish somebody would do a director's cut.
Yeah, I would watch that in a heartbeat. Because I bet you it was good. I bet you it was good, and Kathleen Kennedy was like, "No, it's too funny, guys. It's too funny."
There's too much masculinity in here. This guy's not having enough.
The one they showed us was so bland. Pretty much anything would be better.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I watched. It was like really funny, and like everybody loved it. And Kathleen Kennedy was just like, "No, you guys, this needs to be serious. It's Star Wars." And you're like, "What?" And you're like, "Get out of here, Kathleen."
D says there really is people who stand their ground and say no more, and unsubscribe, and just don't go and buy certain sites or certain stores.
That's so true. There's even YouTubers like YouTuber X that I used to be a member of, and I was just like, nope, I'm out with this nonsense. You know?
So YouTuber X is way too political, and the funny thing is she prides herself on not being political. She's so politically minded, she doesn't realize when she's being political.
Yeah. Which if you are, that's fine. People, and it's like you guys said, the YouTuber that we were talking about before that lies every 5 minutes. Yes. I used to subscribe to his channel, and I was like, I used to believe every shit until you're like, none of this shit is coming to fruition, asshole. Yeah. So then I was like, unsubscribe. I'm not gonna watch your videos anymore. I was
it wasn't even just like. It wasn't just like speculation from rumors. His YouTube channel is literally just fiction.
Yeah, and it would get to the point where I was like, he could have said the sky is blue, and I'm like, he's a liar. This is a lie. I don't believe him. Like, it got so bad. But you're right. And when it comes to Disney now, and for Star Wars specifically, before The Last Jedi, I spent so much money every year on Star Wars stuff. We're talking like backpacks, coffee mugs, writing utensils, action figures. I bought so many action figures every year. I have not bought a single Star Wars product since The Last Jedi. Like, since The Last Jedi came out, I haven't bought anything. So they lost me personally. They lost me. I won't go back. So,
and they should have to earn your dollars, man. Disney operates like any other major corporation where the CEO or chief director or whatever inflated title that was made up to justify this person's pay, right, should be the person held accountable. Kathleen Kennedy, had she just been some grip who kept spilling coffee every time they came on the set, would have been fired immediately, right? Had they been some fucking intern that made someone uncomfortable, fired. This woman has botched an entire franchise.
Over and over again, more and more movies. And so, like, for instance, remember, sequels are supposed to make more than their predecessors. However, the Star Wars sequel trilogy continued to go down.
Decline. Right. Absolutely decline.
Absolute decline. And, the third one, it got to the point where The Rise of Skywalker barely made $1 billion. It made $1.1 billion. But I'm saying they were scared it wasn't going to make $1 billion. They would have totally humiliated them.
And it took a hot minute. It's Mike Zero. Mike Zero's a liar.
Or were you guys? Yeah, Mike Zero's a liar.
Doomcock is another one of them that does that shit. Like, he's been saying Kathleen Kennedy's going to get fired for like 5 years now.
At least Doomcock, and I think I know who Doomcock is in real life.
Shut up,
because he's another YouTuber. And so that's his second channel. But Doomcock at least is a joke.
You tell me who it is. You tell me who it is. You later.
Okay, yeah. But like, he at least makes a joke out of it. Like, he's wearing a weird costume and he's got puppets around him. At least that's absurd. It's theater, right?
Yeah, I hate that.
But Mike Zero literally is like, I talked to my connects, and they say that Brie Larson was filming a Star Wars movie, and she slapped Kathleen Kennedy, and they tried to fire her. And Bob Iger was like, "No, we can't, because she is carrying Bob Iger's baby."
Yeah, that's exactly that. I wouldn't be surprised if that's his next video. I wouldn't be surprised. He's so bad. I'm just like,
it's insane how crazy.
I have it on good authority. As soon as he says good authority, I'm like, you are your authority. You are your source.
Exactly. It's like somebody on Twitter tweeted this out. Yeah, you tweeted it out.
Yeah, no, that's
I sent funny. You a video, Mantis, of who I think has been the most fair, objective person this entire thing. But I want to show you what a fan looks like, right? Someone that's
on Discord.
I sent it to your Discord. It's from our guy Star Wars Theory, and I just like him. How can you not like the guy, man? Even if it's a little weird, sometimes when he says something isn't in the spirit of Star Wars, I get why he's saying it. I don't mean weird like in a creepy way, but this guy cares so much about this brand and this franchise and this story that he would make the video I sent you where he basically does something that you would never see the other side do.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be real with you right now. A lot of people are very opinionated people, and actually, just out of the Acolyte alone, I had to unfollow at least 2 YouTubers because they were reveling too hard in anti-wokeness, right? And so I was like, "Fuck this! I don't need this." But I will say that even when I don't agree with Star Wars Theory, he keeps it cool.
Yeah.
He doesn't cross the line where he's offensive or anything. He's literally just like, from my heart, man, this isn't my Star Wars. And I dig that, man.
Yeah.
Right.
I like it too. Yeah, because he's very, and plus, I like you said, he's fair. Like if
Right.
he doesn't like it, he gives you why he doesn't like something, and he points out his opinion, and you can disagree or not agree. But he does do it in a fair way, and you're just like, all right, I feel what you're saying. I don't agree with you, but you put it out there. That was good.
And you know what else, Matt? Here's what's really cool, right? He's a survivor of cancel culture. I don't know if you guys remember this, but just about a month or 2 months ago, they tried to cancel this bastard. They literally tried to have him canceled over something a guest said in regards to like, hey, Star Wars.
Psychologist. It was a psychologist.
Yeah, like Star Wars is primarily a male thing. Why do we need to feminize it? What is the
and she talked about like why women aren't real fans of Star Wars. It's rarer than a woman like Star Wars.
It's true.
It is true. No offense to my lady viewers.
We all know you hang around to get some of this schlong, hoping that
you do.
You're hoping I put out after a long night of watching Empire.
Yeah, my wife had never seen a Star Wars movie until we got married. So like I'm just like, and she was like, I think I saw one with a little white and blue robot. I'm like, you mean all of them? He's in all of them.
Yeah, that's our too.
I'm like, yeah, he's in all of them. What are you talking about?
Are you a How I Met Your Mother fan?
Yes, but I have not seen every episode, and I didn't start watching it really every episode until the last season. But my wife was a huge fan of that show.
So there's a series of one where he's going to marry this girl, and she never saw Star Wars, and he's appalled by it, and he makes her watch it. And she's like, I don't understand. How do they understand what the bear is talking about? The bear is like, and they're like, good idea, bear.
I should go and watch episode. That's how my wife, when she told me that, I was like, how did we get married? And I didn't know this. And she's like, I don't know. We never talked about it. And I'm like, we should have.
Oh, you have to talk about Star Wars.
My favorite How I Met Your Mother episode is when Barry and the big dude fucking make that bet and they start smacking the shit out of each other. If you have
the slap
bet is like the craziest episode because they will break the continuity of the story so they can smack the shit out of each other. Just like, but here we have Star Wars theory, and just in case you didn't know, Matt, I have a theory that this is Roy's love child. I can't prove it, but I am going to prove it one day, man.
I mean, they do look like they could be siblings.
He's about the right age, too. But he's going to say something that...
but he's Canadian, and I would never bang a Canadian woman.
No
matter how hot.
Yes, you would. I can see you hanging outside a bar with...
I don't want to catch something.
He
like
could
icicle cock.
Yeah, you could be her savior. Get her out of that hellhole.
Right, save her from Trudeau.
Yeah.
But this is like the spirit of a fan, man. This is the type of shit that created some of the best things in fandom. These type of fans, man. Probably the first fan to show up to something, to make a Comic Con. He's the type of guy that greets his fans, always has time for his fans. And I just really appreciated what he said here.
Tonight's episode, tomorrow's episode, the third episode is going to be the most controversial and divisive. Regardless what happens, I'm going to be there with you guys, and it's going to be interesting. But I want to leave you with one message. I believe this show will be very divisive for many Star Wars fans. And I just want the discourse online from your ends to be extremely respectful. And I say this for two reasons. You always got to be a gentleman, right? Throwing insults and name-calling, whatever, doesn't do any good. And it doesn't help prove your point. It just makes you look stupid. The other side, and unfortunately there is another side, it's the side, and it's not the side that doesn't like what you like. It's the side that is intolerant of any other opinion that is different from theirs. That's the side I speak of. Otherwise, it's normal to have opinions that differ from everyone else. That's life. That's awesome. That's how we come to things and conclusions and, build a better world by having different opinions and finding common ground. Anyways, always express your opinions extremely eloquently, respectfully, and methodically. Why didn't you like the episode? Why didn't you like this? Why didn't you like that? Always be super methodical and well thought out. And of course, above all, be respectful to whoever else you're speaking to, even when they aren't. And this is something that I know can be difficult. You just have to be composed. And you always got to come out of it, looking like James Bond. Be a gentleman. be respectful, take the higher ground, literally. So whatever happens, man, that's not to say don't rip it apart if it does actually go against, what George told and said and wrote and all that stuff. But, you can do it in a bunch of different ways. And, you always want to take the respectful way and explain things, with a good intention, good heart. And think that's the best way to get your point across. So, love you all. I'll see you guys tonight. And may the force be with us all.
The force be with us all. So, I'm gonna say this. Speaking of that, let's talk about things that I think are just false or idiotic complaints about the show.
Okay.
Right. First one was a dagger to a heart kills somebody.
Right.
That's obvious. Obviously, that would kill anybody.
Yeah.
Right. And so, next one, a fire in outer space.
Oh yeah.
And. Oh wait, I think you're muted, Matt.
Sorry, I am. I blew my nose earlier. I wanted to hear it, but no, you're right. Can they just keep to a little bit of science, just a tiny bit of science? Like there's no oxygen in space. Just I mean, I get it. It's Star Wars. It's in a galaxy far away, but just a tiny bit of science. Let's just keep it in there.
So here's the thing, though. But if you watch all the, or even the originals, they don't respect space at all.
That is
space
true.
Is
that
just
is
total
true.
nonsense.
Now that you said that is true. They do get blasted and then they like swirl.
There's things that like remember in Empire Strikes Back when they go into an asteroid and they hear weird noises, and instead of taking spacesuits, they just have gas masks.
Yes.
And I'm like, you needed a full pressurized suit, bro.
Right.
But here's what I'm saying: Star Wars has always been like fast and loose on like space stuff, so I don't mind it.
Yeah, but no, you're right. That is a good point. All right, I take it away. I take it back. They can have fire in space.
Okay, thank you. Next one. Why are the girls' hair the same if they haven't seen each other in many years?
Right.
That's a good point. And plus,
I've got an explanation.
Yeah. Plus, I just want to say I don't. The Imelda Steinberg, is that how you say her name? She I think she's only doing a good job with the OSHA character. The other one, I'm sorry. I have a twin brother. We couldn't be more different, and you can tell the difference. So these two bitches are like pretty much the same, in my opinion, the same person. And I'm all like, the math is not mathing on this one. I'm sorry. Like,
I think
I'm glad you pointed that out. I'm sorry, just real quick. I'm glad you pointed that out, Matt, because actually the younger girls, somewhat, I don't know if it's digitized or maybe it's just my old eyes, but they actually don't look exactly alike, and they have a slight different mannerism. But the same thing cannot be said about when she plays the older version. They literally have the same temperament. They have the same whiny temperament, man. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Roy.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
What was your theory?
I was gonna say
the hair.
People tend to play Darksiders. I noticed this. Their whole thing is they're on the dark side. Okay, I'll be angry.
Yeah,
I'm angry, Roy.
Right.
And I'm like, there should be more nuance to understanding the dark side than just being angry. Yeah. And so May is just pure anger. She's almost a little brat, an angry brat. And I want to like bitch slap her and say, chill the fuck out.
But this is the critical problem with Star Wars in regard to the films and people representing the dark side. No one knows, except for Palpatine, how to be evil. Like how to truly be evil. And the actors that they pick to play Darksiders, I'm sorry, that dude that played Kylo Ren, what's this dude's name? Sounds like he's deaf.
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver, man. No one knows how to play an evil character. Like they don't know how to play a character that's falling from grace, someone that's having their morality tugged away from them. And I even say, man, Star Wars lacks that portion in its story. Like the closest we got obviously was watching the descent of Anakin, but you just don't get it the way, like just think about that for a second, man. This kid was saved by the Jedis. His fall should be so fucking dark. People should be walking out of the movie theater questioning their own lives, right? You don't just turn that easily, bro.
He jumped from I'll never betray the Jedi to like literally 5 minutes later killing younglings.
Right.
So that was like that escalated quickly.
Yeah, all for a woman that he got accused of cheating on him. Right. Why did you bring him?
Right.
You underestimated my power.
Right, yeah,
but like, you're right. Palpatine is the greatest villain, I think, literally in all of history.
Right.
Just because he's also good at playing, and he understands that he's like, I can be evil, but also a calm senator at the same time.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so tell me why you think their hair is the same.
Yes.
Okay,
really
so here's what I'm saying. If they're twins and they're connected by the Force, it would make sense that they have similar mind sense and they're acting on each other.
I mean, that's a good. I mean, that's a theory. I think. I don't know, man. I don't know.
The only thing what I thought you were going to say is that's their alien trait. That's the only thing that would make that situation like, hey, this is a planet of people that have dreadlocks, right?
I'm going off of the Crimson Brothers from G.I. Joe, where they feel each other all the time.
I mean,
and so I take it since you're a twin, you don't feel that way with your twin.
I do not. I've met twins that say they do that, like oh, my shoulder hurt because my sister got shot in the shoulder, and I'm all like, yeah, that hasn't happened to me ever. So I'm like,
okay, so.
Go ahead,
I'm just playing off of the Crimson Brothers where they feel each other's pain and they dress the same.
No, it's a good theory, and I mean they might explain it like that. I just go, oh yeah, of course you're gonna do that because you don't know twins, fucker.
Can I ask you guys a question, man? Do you feel like the show has misrepresented itself or what we were led to believe that it was going to be? Like I thought this show was going to be about a Jedi. When they said detective show, maybe it's just me. I thought it was going to be about a Jedi investigating something that turns them into an acolyte. Like that's where I thought we were going. I thought we were going to get something like that. Is there a part of you that's disappointed that it's just some little girl? It's the same story again, man. It's like someone that has a bone to pick with the Jedi, and they turn evil. Right?
I agree with you. Yeah, I didn't think it was what you had said it was going to be. I just thought it would be like it would be like they would set up breadcrumbs to where you could figure out who's killing these Jedi, and that's what I thought it was going to be. But no, it's really like, why are they killing this Jedi? And I'm all like, I don't care. I'm like, it would have been way cooler if they were just like, it was like, I'm going to kill the Jedi for this specific reason, but the reason is like, not as cool as you'd think it was. But I don't know. Yeah, it has misrepresented itself, and it's really annoying.
So the thing that I'm thinking is, as of right now, the level of wokeness, as people call it, this is why I'm like really upset with people in general. I don't think it's that woke. I don't think as of right now, as of episode 2, I don't think it's that woke. So it's got some black chicks in it.
I would agree.
So there's a light skin in it. That isn't like a thing, right? I'm not really worried about that yet. However, from the things I've heard leaked, or if they're true, I could see myself getting angry because I don't like wokeness. I think it's a plague on society.
It is.
But as of episode 2, I don't think it's too woke. It just has a blacker cast than usual.
I agree.
Let's just go there, man. So here is the controversy surrounding tonight's episode that's airing right now, and I just had to close Twitter because my shit just went bing, 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 bing.
I'm literally reading Twitter right now.
Oh, you guys are minds are there. Okay.
So
I'm trying to be here in the podcast.
I'm sorry.
We're here, man. So the issue is the Force is female. Right? That is the backdrop of this entire thing. That is the cradle that started the controversy as we know it in New Star Wars. And so they have done something that I find, I don't know how I feel about it yet, right? When we see the avatars of the Force, we have the father, the brother, and the sister, and then we have Abeloth, who apparently was some slave that got turned into a demon because she wanted to live forever. So if that's a part of the main continuity, that a part of the Force is female, if tonight turns out to be the episode that everyone's talking about, where we find out that they declare definitively that the Force as a whole is female, will you guys be upset?
Yeah. Because it's like, why would you do that? Like, this is the thing. Like, the only reason you do that is it's like those people that do or say something online because they just want to get a reaction out of people. And the only reason you would be like that, and you'd be like, the Force is female, is because you want to get a reaction and a negative reaction at that. It's just, and plus it's just super obnoxious and annoying. Yeah.
Plus, it would be disastrous if they I don't even understand how in a 45-minute show you could declare such a thing. That 1 minute you have some Jedi's like, we're investigating something, and within 45 minutes they discover they're like, the entire force is female. We just figured it out. That is not only absurd and bad writing, but that will set me off.
Right.
And I'm not allowed to say what I want to do because this is on YouTube. Rumble will let us do it, but not YouTube.
So with that backdrop, right? We're always talking about continuity. We're always talking about staying true to the source material. Tyron Magnus said, "Hey, man, some stuff that happens in the source material isn't good, and we shouldn't do that." And I'm like, and that kind of defeats the entire argument right there. I don't agree with that stance, but I respect that, brother. But if in the continuity, he's amazing, he's hilarious. But if in the continuity, a representative is female and she is to represent the light side, are we going to give it a pass? What if they just stick to that?
If she's just a female representing light side, that's fine, because there are plenty of males who represent the light side. That's fine. But if they literally find some way to say, well, it's all female, bro, I will lose it. I will literally fucking lose it. I know what you're saying. This is a make-believe world with dudes with laser swords. I get it. I shouldn't be so triggered. And yet I would be.
Well, what do you guys think about the father, the brother, and the sister? What do you think about them as characters, as entities in the Force? You know, I think people.
I love the overlords. I love them. They're amazing. Yeah. It's what I'm saying. Some people are like, why did the mother have to be the one to fall? Well, because it mirrors biblically the story of Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Right. And so I feel comfortable with it. I guess some women are triggered by this, but I like the overlords. It expands. There are certain stories that expand on the Force and the Jedi, and I like that particular story.
Right.
I'm kind of sick of Filoni being obsessed with it, though. He seems obsessed.
Copy that. I copy that. What do you think, Matt?
I do not like the overlords. I hate that whole part of Star Wars. When it was in Clone Wars, it was at 3 episodes, I believe.
Yeah.
The whole time I was just like, God, I just wish I could fast forward this shit, because I was like, at that time I was watching it as it aired, and I'm all like, I do not care about this old man and his kids fighting. Looks wise, they look cool, and Abeloth looks cool with her zipper face and stuff like that. But I'm just like every time people like that stuff gets brought up, I'm just like, I have no interest in this at all. Like, I just don't.
Rico says I agree with Matt.
Yeah.
So basically, I dig it. I can understand why some people are not into it, because it did come out of nowhere.
Right.
Like, we had seen a lot of Jedis, a lot of Force lore, and out of nowhere they're like, by the way, you have gods. And we're like, what?
Okay,
what the fuck are you
the Advent is in the book, and then Filoni reintroduced it in Clone Wars, in my understanding. Here's my issue with it, right? The Force would have been just fine being ambiguous and mysterious, right?
Yes.
You did not need to put a face to it unless you were going to do something that made sense. I'm just going to be the guy to say it, man. A lot of that shit that happened in the EU is just absolute nonsense.
It didn't really happen. We all know it didn't happen. And I think Clone Wars, too. The Clone Wars, it did. Not all of that is canon. Come on.
It's all canon. The Space Wolves, all of it.
Yeah, there is some stuff in Star Wars that's like ridiculous, but at the same time, you do have some ridiculous things in the stuff that you love so much. Like, I love Harry Potter, but there's shit in that I'm just like, this is ridiculous. I'm not interested. These time turners, get out of here with that nonsense.
Yeah, right.
So there is some stuff that I'm like, well, I wish this wasn't in here, but at the same time, it's better than the shit Disney is putting out. I mean, minus like I did like Rebels, but like the space werewolves or werewolves, the space wolves are weird, and I don't like the access of time, whatever that's called.
Time travel and going on the road, road between worlds.
I don't like that, but at the same time, listen, it's there. That part doesn't bother me because it didn't change Star Wars to the point where I'm like, this shit sucks. But all the live action stuff is really just like, except for season 1 and season 2 of Mandalorian. But yeah.
So here's my headcanon of the Chosen One and the whatever's going on there. But so my thought is that after the Overlords trilogy on Clone Wars, the idea is that the Chosen One, when he dies, will become the father. He'll replace the father, who is now missing since that trilogy. Because he's killed by the son, right?
Right.
And I felt that Ahsoka confirmed that when Ahsoka was pulled out of time and space. And I enjoyed that. I know it's cheesy. They won't let Ahsoka die. She's immortal. She's the every bitch, right? But he pulled her out of space and time. But I really appreciate Ahsoka was sucking, and I really appreciated that time travel where she gets to relive her childhood. Right. And in the Clone Wars, that was a cool scene. That was
absolutely amazing.
But I assume he did that because he's the father. Is my point.
I mean, my headcanon on the entire situation is that Anakin was supposed to be, as the Chosen One, elevated above any other understanding that we've had of a Force user before, right? Before there was the father, the mother, any of this shit. This kid is the Chosen One, and when you call someone the Chosen One, that's not just a mantle you can pass on to your son, right? You are the Chosen One, right? He restored balance to the Force by killing a bunch of little kids. Shit got out of control. There was too much good going on in the universe. I always assumed that he became one with the Force, so I wasn't bothered that he came back in the situation with Ahsoka. In regards to this shit, though, right? Here's what's going to be really weird. If tonight's episode does not turn out to be uber controversial, right? And it's just another bit of the story where they explain why the Wookiee needs to die. How many people do you think are going to be disappointed? And my point in asking that question is, I think some people want it to be the thing that destroys Star Wars. I think they need this to be the thing.
So,
go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you go. Nope, you go.
No, you.
Okay. I was just gonna say I agree. There are some people that they just need one thing, and it could be anything. It'd be like, what, these bitches' hair is the same? It ruins Star Wars. And you're like, okay. So it's like there are some people they just need something, and so I agree with you.
Yeah.
So I was talking to my sister about this whole premise. That back in the day, and it's so funny, I did a YouTube video about this when I was making YouTube videos, where back in the day when a YouTuber, and this is probably pre-COVID, when they used to say, this shit is woke, don't go, people talked about it, created buzz, but it wasn't strong enough. The YouTubers didn't have, the anti-woke YouTubers weren't strong enough to change the box office. If something was going to succeed, it still succeeded. If something was going to flop, it would still flop. They couldn't change this. But this is different now.
Yes.
They've been, and it's funny, these YouTubers have been training people to respond to their calls. So now when people are saying, that shit is woke, people will literally be like, I'm not going to watch it, because they have this internal rage because they remember The Last Jedi. They're like triggered and they're like, fuck this woke shit. And so they're not showing up. And so I actually do believe these YouTubers are actually making a difference in the box office. What they say you should go to, or what they say you shouldn't go to, it has a difference now, when a couple of years ago it didn't.
Bro, you have data to back that up, because if you would have told me that a public outcry from a bunch of people on their microphones leading into chats and leading into places like Reddit would lead to WB going, okay, release it. Of course, I'm talking about the Snyder Cut, right? The one thing that Hollywood wishes they can backtrack on, like, why did we listen to the fans? When actually, I actually enjoyed the Snyder Cut, but yeah, they have a vast amount of influence. The crazy thing is, I really do think it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. If this episode is not controversial, I'm going to be disappointed, because it's like, well, what the fuck was all the buzz about? But at the same time, I might be a little happy, because just like Mike Zero or whatever that dude's name is, man, some of these people need to have their mics revoked on YouTube, man. Like, you are just you're saying stuff that cannot be delivered on story-wise. Matt, I know you and I disagree on the Pedro Pascal thing with YouTube for X, but it's just like, it's crazy that these people can pretend to be insiders when it's like, who's your source? How did you develop this source? Who were you? Who are you, bro? Like even with someone like Den of Nerds, man, I love that dude. But how did you get a source in one of the most prestigious, commercially successful studios? Like, who's your fucking source, bro? How did this happen, man? I turned off Twitter. I don't know what's going on right now.
And I think, honestly, the majority of people who are going to be bitching about tonight's episode are probably not even going to watch it. They're going to wait. They're going to wait till YouTuber X or something tells us about it, and then they're going to bitch.
Of course.
Right, and so I don't know. It is what it is. I'm here for the ride until they really offend me.
Right.
And you know what's funny? I think my favorite Star Wars shows are ones that just simply didn't offend me. Like Andor didn't offend me, so I like it. Obi-Wan was offensive to the core, so fuck that show.
So as super fans, you know, we're all three of us, man. We enjoy the properties we enjoy. We grew up in a time where you really had to earn your stripes as someone in fandom. I'd be remiss if before we wrap tonight, we don't talk about someone who gave his entire life to the craft of commentary on some of our favorite properties, man, comics and live actions, movies. Obviously, I'm talking about Comicstorian passes away in tragic car crash. And I'm ashamed to say I don't know the brother's real name. What is his real name? It's escaping me right now.
Ben Potter.
Ben Potter.
Yeah.
Really, I got to tell you guys, man, there was a time where I was working a job where I was constantly traveling with clients, and I really didn't have much time to do anything other than catch up with my wife after being with a client for 12 hours and, you know, just trying to de-escalate my mind from how stressful that job was. And I stumbled upon this dude's channel because I couldn't make it to the local comic book store when I made the decision that I was going to get back into comics about 9 years ago before my first child was born. And I stumbled upon him and obviously Rob from Comics Explained. They actually had a podcast with each other. And this is the dude that reignited my fire for fandom, man. I was watching videos that this guy made, man. And, you know, he's no longer with us. Sad stuff all around.
Yeah, you know, it is. And I'm not going to lie, like, he wasn't my first source, but he certainly was a respected source.
Right.
You know, let's see what the vid's got to say.
Car, guess a hero villain.
It's Marvel.
No.
DC.
Yes.
Hero.
No.
Okay, good. Shoot, are they super intelligent?
Yes, they are.
Don't get hit by the car.
I didn't get hit by the car. They are intelligent.
They are super intelligent.
Yeah.
Are they against a man with impressive biceps, pecs, and ass?
Yes, they are.
Does that man have an S on his chest?
No, actually.
Shoot. Super intelligent. Wait. Could also. Does he have a bat on his chest?
Yes. No, he's a villain of a bat chest person.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay, he's a villain of. Okay. Does the villain have makeup and green hair?
No.
Damn it. Is he really old and has a weird goatee situation and revives from the dead a lot?
Yes.
Ra's al Ghul.
Oh wait, no, never mind.
No.
I was picturing the wrong person.
Strange.
It's not that.
Vandal Savage?
No.
Hugo Strange.
He's very cold-hearted. Final guess.
Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, I gave that away. Benny, final one. Hero villain.
Sorry, this is the video. This is actually, I guess, hours before he passed away. His wife.
Yeah, this is them remembering him, and it's sweet. It doesn't go into details what happened to him.
I just want to say that guy. I just want to say that guy giving the clues sucks balls. I mean, that was the worst game of guess.
Yes.
Guess who of ever? He
died in a car.
Does he have a beard? Yes. So and so. No, wait. He doesn't have a beard. Sorry, I forgot. What? It's Lex Luthor. What, dude?
Yeah. I know. It's so insane.
Sorry, I went on a fun little thing. He was annoying me.
No, that was annoying that the guy didn't even remember the few. It's only a few clues, really.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like, you know, somebody's like, the answer is, Mr. Freeze. There's no way I would accidentally say he has a beard.
Yeah. Does he have a goatee? Goatee? Yes. What?
So his wife released a statement. He actually passed away on the 8th of this month, and his wife released a statement, and it reads as follows. To many of you, he was Comicstorian, writes Natalie Porter, voicing stories from across multiple different mediums. To his loved ones, he was one of the best and most supportive individuals anyone could ask for. As a husband, a son, a brother, a friend, or even just a stranger, she continues. Ben was loving and genuine. He was someone who would listen and make time for his loved ones. He would do his best to make everyone laugh and make sure they were okay. He was our rock, and he reassured his loved ones whenever they needed it. His wife called Potter's channel one of the greatest accomplishments and vowed that she and Potter's team want to keep it going, to honor him by continuing to tell great stories by great people, as well to keep the memory of our very own superhero alive.
That's horrible.
In a world of divisive content on the internet, man, I got to give him respect, because even though he did wade into like the culture war stuff in regards to how it impacted the mediums, it was always about his love of this. And I think sometimes that gets lost. It's easy to paint the three of us as three psychopaths with microphones, and you're like, what do you fucking care if the characters are gay or not? It's not about that, bro. And if you think it's about that, you've missed the point. Yep. We grew up heavily invested in these things, man, and these things presented in a world which was not ideal, but where there were champions fighting off evil, and that would translate to little kids where you're like, man, this is amazing. I wish there were heroes like this in the real world. And obviously they are. Shout out to our armed forces, firefighters, police fighters, and everyday citizens doing the right thing. But gonna miss this guy, man. Gonna miss him a lot.
Yeah, rest in peace, brother. He seems like a real genuine dude, man.
Yeah. And I'm sorry to bring the mood down, but now we got to talk about, in the last 15 minutes, Matt's boo-boo kitty fuck, the apple of his eye, the queen, his chocolate dumpling. Candace Owens is back with a vengeance, man.
Back in the game.
Are you guys as excited to see what's going to happen as I am? Because she's already taking shots at people at the Daily Wire.
She didn't waste any time.
No, at all.
I almost wish she had went a little bit harder. Like I was like, my boo. I thought you were gonna go ham on these motherfuckers like right off the bat. But then she's like, so now we're gonna switch it over to a story. And I was like, no, go back. It's Ben's turn. It's Ben's turn. I'm ready for this. And I was like, I really want to see what she says exactly and what she can say.
That's what my thinking was too, Matt. I think contractually she might not be able to make any commentary on Ben, or
they're suing each other.
Are they?
Yeah,
she's suing the Daily Wire and they're counter suing her.
Which I just go like, you guys, like, what is this suing nonsense?
I agree. She took it like a champ getting fired, but however, they did try to silence her after the fact.
Yeah, my whole thing is just like, I listen, in all honesty, I don't know why she was fired. I think I know why she was fired. And I just go like, she shouldn't have been fired for that. And the stuff that they said about her, like that whole Crisis King thing and her being anti-Semitic, I'm like, get the fuck out of here with that nonsense. Go ahead.
Yeah, they put a cease and desist on talking about anything about the Daily Wire after she was fired.
Yeah.
So she couldn't even talk about why she was fired, which is fucked up.
Yeah, but they're suing each other apparently.
Look at her. The image of a tigress.
I love Candace Owens.
I love her, but I gotta say this. To her and to Tucker and to everyone else who is originally in like a mainstream situation with the whole team, and then they go individually. They need a producer.
Yeah,
I agree.
Obviously, as I am a guy who is a podcast producer, obviously I'm going to say that. But like, here's what I'm saying. This, no offense, and this is not a racial thing. A little ghetto. Because it's literally her she's talking to the camera. She has the intro music, and then she's just like talking to the camera. And I was like, can you have a little format to your show?
Yeah. And maybe that'll get her. She'll be able to, as time goes on, be able to, develop, what she wants to do and stuff. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't disappointed. I was a little disappointed with this first video.
It wasn't that impressive. She normally goes for it. Like, she sinks her teeth into people.
And that's why I like her so much, is because like she's cute, but she's spicy, and I like that about her. But this one, I was just like, huh. And then as soon as she switched, I listened to the whole episode, but as soon as she switched over to, I'm going to tell you a story time, because this is like I'm talking to my friends on the phone. I'm like, I don't want to hear your shit with your friends on the phone.
Right. I don't want to see the real you. I want to see the fictionalized character you put on screen.
Yeah. And then she was like, she started off with like, what did I miss? And I'm like, oh, she's going to talk about maybe the Biden thing, or she's going to talk about the Trump trial. No, she didn't talk about any of that shit. I was like, oh, well, this is disappointing a little bit.
Yeah, she actually, what she got into when I clicked on the next video was she started talking about the critique they had about her and statements she had made about burning books and calling, Sigmund Freud and other clinical minds of the yesteryear perverts and stuff like that. But I will say this, man. I feel bad for her in the sense where she lost, that page had like 4 million followers or something like that. So she's essentially starting over. People were putting the nail in her, like in her coffin already, but I think she's going to be just fine. Just like Tucker Carlson, who people also said was not going to thrive post his deal with Fox. And he's actually doing amazing. Obviously, he's doing dictators around the world. I think Candace is going to bounce back. I'm interested to see how she's going to engage with the commentary in regards to her trying to run back to the black media space. This is a big deal, Matt. So there are some troglodyte motherfuckers on the internet, and you know exactly who you bitch-ass motherfuckers are over in the revolutionary space. They were like, nah, she's not welcome back to the cookout. Who the fuck made you guys the presidents of blackness and declares who can come back to the cookout? Her message has been consistent the entire time in regards to dynamics. She espouses, I can't say I know her heart, a high reverence for being black and growing up black and wanting to bring a level of decorum and honor to the community. I don't think she's trying to run back to anything. She went on a place where she was invited to, and she did what she did, man, and she does what she does. You may not like her message, but I'm going to challenge you. Disprove it. So whenever I go around the internet looking for people to refute the things that she's saying, you know what the common responses are? Well, they should not have been sitting down with her, or Joe Budden shouldn't have been the one, or Charlemagne shouldn't have been the one, because they're just not well versed in these topics. Okay, you sound pretty fucking well versed. Why don't you call her out? Why don't you make a video critiquing her points bit by bit? But it's never that. It's never that, my brothers. It's always some lowbrow response. And I'm like, you're not responding to the things she's saying. You're responding to what you think of her character.
And that's what triggered liberals always do. They respond to like how they feel rather than what's in front of them, what the actual argument is. And I gotta say, she's doing a great job, at least in the beginning, of re-entering the black community, because she has, what does she have in her first episode? I was fired by a Jewish boss who discriminated against me, and I was friends with Kanye West, and I have a secret interview with him.
Oh, we got Bex down there in the comment section. Careful, Mantis. Some people don't believe in formats or outlines. I could respond to this, but for the sake of our friendship, I'm not going to. But some people might say there's a certain type of format I don't enjoy. Wink, wink. Hint, hint.
I mean, I feel that. Here's what I'm saying. Maybe if you're an animal, but however, actually curated together content is gonna have a format.
Yeah, curated together content is gonna have a format, but I'm just not that type of guy that reads from a script at all.
Yo, you don't need to read from a script, but I'm saying this was particularly ghetto, I have to say, because it's literally her. She's just free thinking. She's like, and like another thing, I once knew Kanye, and there's no structure here.
And that's a poor representation of what actually happened. You kind of went woke there yourself, man. You like that's not.
Well, I think, and I wish in her video she hadn't referenced Kanye, because I just want to be like, listen. Don't get me wrong. Kanye, I think, has a lot of mental issues that he needs to sort out. But you keep going back to that well, and all anybody remembers is the bad stuff. So stop going back to that well and just and be, like my friend Kanye says, stop calling him your friend and stop talking about him, because he's and don't get me wrong, I have lots of thoughts on Kanye, but when it comes to Candace and Kanye, I'm just like, maybe you just should stop bringing this up because I don't want to hear about it anymore. And I don't agree with you on some of the stuff, but at the same time, it's like, I get it, kind of, not really, but you know.
Bro, here's the deal with Kanye, right? And now I'm talking to my conservative friends. If a hit dog hollers, that just means your dog needed to be whooped. All you idiots that fucking lauded him around as if he was a conservative darling. I've been saying from the very beginning, this man is sick. He's crazy, clinically diagnosed crazy. And to pretend that he has anything worthwhile that we should hang an entire party's social view on is idiocy. And I watched them do it, and I watched all the socially conservative people like, well, look at Kanye. He seems to, and yeah, everything's going great until the motherfucker shows up to a show in a supervillain mask talking about
he loves Nazis and that he's God.
And he's got Yahoo. And I'm all like, what's happening here? And it was just, I wish it wouldn't have happened because, you know, I was like, go back to making Yeezys and making music like that's your area. Okay. Just stay there.
Right. It was top tier. It was top tier cringe.
Yeah.
If I was in Candace's corner, here's what I would advise her to do, right? Whenever the legal shit kind of subsides, in regards to Kanye, I would not bring him up anymore. I agree with you there, Matt. Like, just, you know, it weakens your argument when you say, hey,
I do love Kanye, though. I do love him. I wish nothing but the best. Finish what you were saying. Sorry.
No, I don't wish anything good for Kanye, man. Fuck him. He's a millionaire.
I just hope he gets better. I don't want to see anybody like have a mental breakdown and then not get help for it.
He's not just a millionaire; he's 100 millionaire.
Listen,
he's practically a billionaire. Yeah.
I'm not wishing ill on Kanye, but it'd be just what his enablers deserve when he throws himself from the top of a building.
Right.
Because you helped him climb up there. You watched all his stupid views. You massaged his dumb ass into believing that he has some impactful thing to say outside of music. And when he finally does off himself, like that kid with the guillotine on national TV, I'm going to call all the Kanye fans like, remember when you said you thought he had a point? Well, this was his point. I'm sick. I need help. But if I was in Candace's corner, I think she needs to go full throttle right back into the social commentary scene, right? I would address the Breakfast Club interview. I would address Joe Budden's for not releasing that to the public, right? I would never sit down with someone that wants to put an interview behind a paywall. It's like you either have the courage to have this conversation and have it out there, or you don't.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say this: she actually mentions not only Daily Wire, but she's like, the way the Daily Wire is treating me, it's like, you know, I'm their ex-girlfriend. And they're obsessed with me. However, her constantly bringing it up feels the same way, that she feels the same way. And so she should be, I don't mind her mentioning it, but she shouldn't keep talking about it. Like, rise above that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is day one. And again, I am glad that she did address people who came to her defense. Let's be honest, man. Them trying to spin the Christ is King thing into an anti-Semitic trope, it was just the worst type of political shenanigans I've ever seen, man. But I mean, don't let me speak. Let's let the queen herself speak.
Yeah, but I gotta tell you real quick before we put it on. I personally, I would, if I were her, I would do my episodes and I would never mention the Daily Wire. I would not even mention it, like it's not even a thing.
Yeah,
like I don't think about these motherfuckers at all.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't mention it. But here's the next thing. I would double down on my view of things. If you really do believe that Palestine is a country that's being unjustly persecuted and you're against warmongering, go 10 toes down on that. You don't have to mention Ben Shapiro, but you can continue to speak your point, right? And continue to bring up things that either validate or disprove the other side's point, man. The Daily Wire took a big social L on this, and that's the biggest social L such a large conservative space has taken in quite some time, because the liberals have been handing W's to the conservatives for almost 8 years in a row now. They've just been giving them W's. So Beck says she's hurt. Of course she's going to mention it for a bit. Do you think Candace Owens feels the human range of emotions?
Yes.
To be honest, I don't, but I still love her.
Like, you know, I get why she brought it up. It was her first show. People are curious what she's had to say about it. I get it, but like maybe if she does a thing like she did with Andrew Clavin, but she goes, even though like you said before, she's probably not going to mention Ben Shapiro, which I wish she would. Right. But you're totally right. I agree with you that if you listen, whatever you believe, if you're not going to believe it and you're not going to, and you're just going to be all like, well, I got in trouble before, so I should pull back. Well, then you really didn't believe what you believed in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah. So she should, say what you're going to say. I don't agree with you and I'll listen to what you have to say. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to agree with you, but, and I don't think she should have got fired for it, but that was not my choice.
Yeah. Right. We'll see if, what happens with this lawsuit. Cause here it's getting fiery, but let's hear some of the things she had to say.
Gentlemen, we are finally back. Yes, I am genuinely so excited. I can't even tell you guys how excited I am to finally be back with all of my friends, just speaking about things that are on my mind.
Real quick, for instance, production problem. Why does she have a laptop in front of her?
Yeah, they do that at the Daily Wire. I don't like it.
I don't like it. Should be moved away. She should be clear, but.
Finally, we have so much to catch up on. So much has taken place. What did I miss?
The Daily Wire has parted ways or fired Candace Owens.
The Daily Wire severs ties with Candace Owens.
Candace Owens is fired.
Was she fired or did she leave of her own volition?
Jeremy, the God King of the Daily Wire, announced that the Daily Wire and Candace Owens have parted ways.
Daily Wire and Candace Owens have ended their relationship.
Got to ask you about the recent departure of Candace Owens.
Justifying why he fired Candace.
Like, look what's going on with Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro. I want to know what she was fired for.
Dang. All right. Well, apparently I missed a lot. Welcome back, guys. And this time, it's just Candace.
I like this intro, though. This is a fun intro. This young her. Paving the path to be my future wife. I love it.
So obviously we have to address the elephant in the room. It would be so inauthentic. It would be so not Candace if we did not address the elephant in the room. And there's really just no way that we can pick up where we just left off. You know what I mean? We can't avoid it. The answer is yes. President Joe Biden did, in fact, poop his pants in France the other day. Everyone knows he pooped his pants. You know he pooped his pants. I know he pooped his pants. But especially us moms to toddlers, we know what went down. It's an unmistakable, undeniable squat.
Look at the lip.
I think the most telling part was Joe Biden's face. Jill Biden looked over at her toddler, and she just looked like a disappointed mommy. She gave you have got to be kidding me here now. That. Didn't I tell you
what did she say
to go to the bathroom before we got into the car? But that, of course, is not the only elephant in the room. I kid. There is a much bigger one, and we will address that too. For me, my podcast, I describe it as just talking to my friends on the phone. That's what it feels like. I don't even feel that the entire world is listening. I kind of am just like, hey, oh my gosh, did you see this? This is crazy. I just read this crazy book. Oh my gosh, what does this mean about our government? It's corrupt. It's like talking to my family on the phone. And then we kind of sort of find out that the entire world is listening when all of these hit pieces are being written about me. And I'm like, we're basically being spied on. Why is somebody listening to our private conversations? So yeah, when I found out really kind of sort of definitely with the rest of the world that my show had been rather unceremoniously canceled, it was upsetting. It sort of felt like you're talking on those old school cord phones late into the night and like your parents are sleeping and then you think they're sleeping. And then suddenly your mom picks up and she's like, yeah, this conversation is ending right now and you're grounded for 2 weeks. It's over.
Yo, I totally had that experience. I am old enough to remember cord phones, and I remember if I was up too late talking, my mother would pick up the other one and be like, Roy, go to sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, Mantis, go to sleep.
So first thing I noticed, man, and I know we can't labor here long because we're all excited to see Star Wars be ruined tonight. The show pretty much follows the same format of her previous show, right? This is exactly the same exact flow and cadence and everything that she had before. Mm-hmm. One thing I will note already, though, is her background's a little bit more personal. Her wardrobe,
Catholic cross.
Yeah, the Catholic cross, that traitor that she is. her wardrobe budget is going to take a hit because I think the Daily Wire actually afforded her a wardrobe budget. And I know, 3 guys talking about wardrobe, but we're professional podcasters. These are things we notice. But it's the same format, man. What needs to happen now is moving forward, even if she's not attacking Ben Shapiro and these guys, she needs to go full throttle into it, right? She just needs to go to full throttle back to the social commentary.
I agree. I liked her takes on, the political landscape and, all that kind of stuff. So I think that she does need to go back to it.
Yeah, we can't go backwards now. And in fact, I just checked the channel itself to see. So when the video dropped this morning, when I was looking at it, it was around 500,000. It's at 700,000. Her subscriber count is up to 1.56 million. I don't know what the full podcast has on it yet, but yeah, people are still interested in what she says. So I'm going to point out her first W, right?
Right.
Everyone said that she was going to be socially irrelevant once she came back. Clearly, there's a high appetite for Candace Owens. The comment section is literally littered with support for her and her stances that she takes and her triumphant return. Yeah. And in fact, her fans are doing what fans should do. They're the ones going at Ben Shapiro. Like, if you go through here for a second, man, there is so many click here. If you're unsubscribing to the Daily Wire, click here to show that facts don't kill about Ben Shapiro's feelings because they've been exposed and they were exposed in a bad way. Beck says the hair's still going to be laid, though. Yes. But
I'm excited that she has a show. I haven't seen episode 2. I've only seen episode 1. But right. I am. If she's going to do this daily, I will be watching her daily, and I'm into it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And that's something I don't do for very many YouTubers. Always I catch her shows when I can catch her shows. But I feel like I can't wait to sink my teeth into this one. And no, that's not a euphemism for banging Candace Owens. Although it could be. Could be, because the feelings are there.
I mean, objectively, Candace Owens is hot, man. She's probably the best looking conservative social commentator there is, like without a shadow of a doubt.
I agree.
Right.
Yeah, she's
absolutely. But I had such a good time today,
yeah,
guys.
Man.
Let's all hear it from MATTKAT, who came here. What?
No, thanks for having me on, you guys. I really appreciate it. I always love the show and everything, except when YouTube doesn't send out the notification to me, those fuckers.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's YouTube are fascist pigs.
Yeah, they need to fix their notifications. They suck. Do you
want to tell everyone where they can find you?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. It's called Geek What, as in Geek What. It's on YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter at MATTKAT83. That's Matt with 1 T and Cat with a K. It's I talk about geeky stuff and entertainment news. And I will be putting out my Star Wars Acolyte breakdown and review tomorrow.
I can't wait. And by the way, I love the new intro to your show
thanks,
when
man.
you have the little animation. It's wonderful.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Steve, you want to tell them where they can find you?
Most likely in prison after the things that I said. I stand by everything I've said tonight, man. To the woke community, y'all ruined Star Wars and Marvel, so congratulations. You don't show up to support anything. Your little fucking flag that you fly everywhere. You don't show up to support any of these properties that you came in and hijacked, so fuck you. And to the Afrocentric revolutionary community, fuck you too. Candace Owens made a triumphant return, and if you want to beef with me about this, you can always find me here or at Riz Radio, where I don't talk about any of this stuff. I just... Or you can email that guy with the green shirt on. He is my producer. So.
I, too, am telling anyone listening, fuck you. But you can always catch us on Riz Radio. You can catch Steve on Thursdays and Sundays at 10 to 2 a.m. doing the hip-hop scene over there. You can catch Mantis at Sundays at 6 p.m. to 10 just before him. Well, I don't really have a theme to my show, do I? It's just total nonsense. Or you can catch replays of this very show weeknights on Riz Radio. That's on the app Live 365. Other than that, we are keeping it extremely real. Thank you for stopping by. I've had an amazing show. Love you all. Can't wait to be offended by Star Wars tonight. Guys, until next time, ciao for motherfucking now.
Bye.
Peace.